Alright, hello. So Dante Unbound patch hits, and immediately I noticed that first of all, why does my ship looks like it's made of plastic? Regardless, um, graphics I guess are cool. I don't really know what's going on here, but it's looks alright. I like the new effects and stuff that are on top of the Warframe. But more importantly, the changes to Eclipse got shipped. And as you can see from this, some things did happen that changed Wisp and my playstyle drastically. Well, first of all, Eclipse is now the same as Roar, so if we see here, we still get 105.6% on both of them. But there is an even bigger issue that basically lost potentially 90% of your damage dealt as Wisp if you use the setup, which I highly promoted in my guide video, so I had to make a video about it addressing this 100%. So, the guide video now has almost 10,000 views, and it suggests that the best and strongest setup for Wisp is abusing the passive that allows you to be stealth in the air and keep the stealth while using melee weapons. And this way you can abuse Contagion. Now, on top of that, you were able to heavy attack by doing this movement of double jumping, holding, aiming in there and then sliding. If you did that and then you heavy attack, you could perform a heavy attack Contagion attack, which I can easily show here. So we just go to this. This is what it looked like, and this is what damage numbers you were able to do. Quite literally damage cap almost every single try. This interaction is gone from the game. It was in the game since 2017, normally. There were no issues with it. For some reason now it's an issue. And I almost thought I got it there, but that was just me playing with the thing. Touching the floor. But yeah, this interaction is no longer possible. You just do slam attacks. Now, there was a buff to slam attacks in general, but the contagion interaction is completely gone. You cannot do it. And Eclipse itself, first of all, holding the ability down gives you the damage up buff. So I suggest reversing the two since the damage buff is more important. So you saw me do 1 million to that guy. With Eclipse, I do 3 million? 4 million? I mean, it's still okay-ish. Contagion itself, nothing. 500,000 damage instead of 50 million damage. And it still can kill base steel path, but I mean, this is just sadness. And without Eclipse, it's literally no damage whatsoever. Now, I know this is not optimal build because it has the heavy attack build on it. I haven't changed it yet because I am simply not gonna use this. It is not worth it anymore. Even with Eclipse, 3 million damage is basically nothing. So the Contagion strat for Wisp is quite literally dead. And it's not dead just necessarily because of Eclipse nerf, because even if Eclipse was nerfed, you would still be able to do at least 40 to 50 million damage quite easily. Because, normally this would deal 400 to 600 million damage before the patch hits. And now it deals 2 million at most. it is dead. You cannot use Exodia Contagion anymore. This is my most used melee weapon. It was always the best for Wisp, and it is ruined. So now I won't use a melee weapon at all. I'll probably take the Praetus for the speed boost and not play melee ever again because nothing can do this. The only thing I could do is revive this Falcor build where you jump attack and you hit everyone around you. But even this pales compared to whatever you could do with Exodia Contagion. It's not even close. So I'm gonna show what that looks like in action. But generally for Wisp, forget about Eclipse completely. Eclipse is dead. Eclipse is gone. Roar is better in every way possible. Since Exodia Contagion is not a thing anymore for Wisp, then you do not even want to try to use it. And yeah. Unless it was not intended, which I doubt it, because they documented this change quite a while back in November, but didn't actually do it, then you know. So this is what the other build is. It's abusing the stream strat where you are basically invisible in the air and you hit everyone around you. Now, this doesn't deal much damage on the initial hit. It deals like 1 million as you saw there, but overall, it has decent room clearing potential. But I think I would rather shoot my Stalta. And if we try the Stalta itself, we're gonna see that the damage with Roar is pretty much the same. It's a bit less, maybe. Actually, no, 441 million. It's exactly the same. So, yeah. This is without having any dot procs, nothing. The Eclipse is just dead. Completely. No reason to use it on Wisp anymore. You cannot health tank with Wisp, you cannot shield tank with Wisp. And Eclipse became really good on warframes like Protea, Harrow, and Hildren, which I'm sure a lot of people will go nuts about Protea, especially when they find out. And yeah, I mean, you can still do pretty ridiculous damage with Wisp if you use Alta and good primer weapon. But I don't think melee is an option anymore, except you go something like Wrathful Advance and play with an actual melee weapon. Like, I would probably try Wrathful Advance and Neferi or Inodem, something like that, you know? Just to try and do as much damage as possible. Titron, Arca Titron should be meta now, after the changes. Melee influence, slam attack changes are in, so we'll see how this goes, but I believe Zephyr Arca Titron will be a setup to look out for sure. One of the strongest in the game, perhaps. And overall, just RIP to Contagion. And RIP to Wisp's damage, because I quite literally lost 90% of my damage potential by the changes on this patch. Now, this doesn't mean that my character is necessarily bad, because, you know, I didn't need that much damage to begin with, but it is sad to see it go, for sure. This weapon. I don't think it's even worth using it anymore. I would appreciate a nerf to whatever the change was, but it's now outright dead. That is what I that's what I'm really sad about, that it's outright dead instead of just nerfed. So, yeah. I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be using Roar most of the time, and I'm thinking of a disruption setup that I'm gonna use maybe Zara and Vigorous swap to get more damage instead of Augur Secrets, something like this. But I will make a specific setup that will showcase the best disruption setup, since disruption will be a very hot game mode right now with a new mission dropping. I really want to try and get to level cap on the new mission, but I really want to see how much damage the Demolis takes first. I haven't tried out the mission itself, I haven't had time to play besides the changes here. And I'll say it for myself, but I do think anything can be level capped, and that means that I will be able to try that out myself when I get the chance. For now, just have this sort of update on Wisp and how to get the most out of her still. Roar is your best option. Nourish could also be a good option now since the diminished... you get less viral damage on your weapon, so if you have a weapon for corrosive, the viral damage now is not gonna overpower your build. So Nourish could now actually be a really good option for Wisp because of its nerf. And yeah, that is about it. I'd still prefer Roar because I like to buff my team. But you could go either way, in my opinion. So yeah, that's it. Expect the Limbo video either tomorrow or the day after. And then expect maybe a gun review into the Disruption video. So that is about it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.